Look at the headline in the CSS to see what it's
CSS.
Yeah, it's a CSS class, that's what it is. So let me, I think this is going again. Okay, let me run this one more time. Take a look here. So you can see the fade-in effect, and also you can see the list items getting removed when you click on them. So hang on here. Let's go look in the CSS for the headline class. It doesn't seem to be applying it.
I didn't see it.
Okay, so that's right. Okay, so we can just make one. Or we can apply, let's apply one of the existing ones. How about cool? Yeah, so this is it's picking this up from somewhere else, but it's not related to JavaScript. But the groceries, but as you can see, if we add the class cool, as you can see, this is what the add class does. It applies a class from the CSS to the particular element. Okay. So one other thing, sorry. Okay. So let's add another, this was an H2. Let's add an H3. My personal shopping list. And what do we expect to happen with the H3 that we just added? It will also pick up the class cool, that's right. So let's verify this for ourselves. And sorry, Kieran, then your question. And sure enough, right? Okay, Kira, what was your question?
I'm just wondering why, I mean, I understand this is just an example of thing, but why would you use the jQuery to change these things when you just change them in your CSS immediately? Like if you wanted to look a certain way, why would you just do that?
So more realistically, you'll be doing these kind of changes maybe as an event handler function. So when someone clicks on a link or a certain element, you could change the color for visual effect or some other way. That's just for illustration purposes. So it's not very realistic.
And the reason I'm asking is because I'm trying to think of like maybe application okay for this final project, you know, how would I incorporate these? Is there like what would I want to do?
You might want to use an event. So let's say you have a specials, and then when the user clicks, you're going to add a class that makes it maybe different color.
Like highlight the specials.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe pulls up a list, or you can do anything else. So most likely you'll be using those that class with an event. But really it just depends on the context. Do we have any questions? Is this clear or?
Can you scroll down a little bit?
Sure, just a second. All right, so yeah, let's make sure everyone's code is working before we continue. Oh, I want to show you something else without having to do a separate example. Did I talk about method chaining? I think I might have, but so do you see on line 20 how we have said hide the list items and then fade them in? But these are two methods, and this illustrates method chaining, which means you can add multiple methods on the same line, one after the other. And so that's what's going on there. So once the first one finishes, it's going to pass its return if it has any to the second one, and then it will execute. So this is what causes it to hide first and then fade in, right? So it's hidden when we first start the page.
Is there any limit to the number of events you can string together?
So these are the methods Can you, what is the limit? Yeah, you can add more. I don't know what is the limit.
Spacing now in and out if you wanted to.
Right, you can do this I would say indefinitely, correct.
Cool.
You can make it as annoying and as you want. Right. Exactly. Okay, so I think, let's see. It's not faded out because it's hidden to start with and then fades in. I mean, you could fade it out.
That part didn't work.
Yeah. It didn't work?
Got it then.
All right, let's see. Okay, let me show you one other thing in this example here. We'll just add to it. Go ahead and add another line. li dot hot dot add class favorite how many hot do we have? Okay, so as you can see, by adding the favorite class, I know I have a typo here, there's a missing space, but that's, I guess, yeah. Okay, so you can apply the favorite, and this is actually, again, the kind of functionality if you were using JavaScript, you have to create a for loop, so you can loop through the list. But with jQuery, all you have to do is call the class, and it's going to apply the class to the entire. So it's going to loop behind the scenes through the list items with class hot, and then add the class favorite to them. Okay.
Because there's a way, like, if some people want to click on this, like, they wanted to have their favorites on the click.
That's exactly
that
right.
one to that class.
That's exactly
So
how it would work. That's a more realistic
of,
example.
like, how it could use it, so
That's-
people can,
that's
like,
right.
identify and see visually that this is
Yeah.
what I did.
Yeah, that's a more realistic example. Okay. So let's take our first break, and then we're going to do more examples. No, that's fine. No, it's great. I like questions. Yeah. No, I like questions. Oh no. I have to- So we just learned, well, we just covered how to use the contacts content provider from Android to access it from another application. Content provider is this is sort of one of the last chapters we went through.
We did GPS as a new one.
We haven't gone through
And
it.
then some asynchronous tasking.
Yeah, we did that a while ago.
Yeah.
We were time
UI fragments.
Yeah, we did that too.
Yeah, I mean, this was all, it's kind of a messy class. The guy's a full-time, he's like maybe 29 years old, he's a full-time developer at Microsoft
Okay.
from 9 to 5, so yeah, pretty busy guy. I mean, he likes teaching, he's just doing it for fun, but he'd just read from the Android site, so that it's like really not the best.
I don't think so.
Because it's like,
I mean, so you have to reference it sometime, but usually it's like, do you actually gain anything by reading this? I don't know.
it gained me a lot of exposure to Android Studios and getting into different methods, and then following tutorials to actually like build up a small app,
Yeah.
and then changing it depending what I wanted it to do. But other than that, it's the methods that we're using. There's some content. Maybe for a while after exposure, I could reverse engineer it just a bit, but not enough to know.
We did a tip calculator app.
Yeah, that was a common one.
That's good. So I actually use the SQLite database, which is kind of cool.
Okay, so we for one of ours, we had two apps we built. One of them was just a snake game, but we used libgdx. It's like Flappy Birds. There's a tutorial online. It's a library, and so there's 2D collision and everything involved. That got really confusing. That was the big thing. Other than that, if you can actually look up Flappy Birds or Mario tutorials on Android, libgdx, you'll find the whole series. It's probably like $10 or something. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, I guess people like games.
Yeah, I guess it's a very common library used for gaming. We had some guys do some VR stuff, but not really.
That must be super fun.
It was more they just made like, have you noticed that there's some like little paper, like cardboard things that you can put on your.
Yeah, I've actually, Google came here and I did one of those.
Yeah, and but they just took some videos basically. You could just move around.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's using an accelerometer or not. I never heard
I don't know, it was the one that we looked at, it had the ocean floor or something like that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so the basic idea of that. But somebody was telling me about Unity, which is programming
That's a programming language for games.
for games. Okay, they're like, yeah, you should learn that.
Well, if you're into games.
I'm not.
And
Just not.
they're very excited actually. Apparently,
Oh yeah. Well, I think like what I experienced was with collision detection, all the issues. So we're saying how it would grow, and then when it hit a tree, what happened. That's a big beast.
that sounds like a beast with many heads.
Exactly. But the only time we used JSON was because we had this web app that we had a database, and I was in charge of kind of filling some filters, and it was based off what information is in the database. And I realized that, like, oh, I do wrap the PHP in a JSON object, and then have the JavaScript handle that.
Are you talking about non-Android anymore?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, okay,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. That's the only exposure I had to it. Was just that one instance.
Well,
Somebody explained that's what you're doing.
yeah, you'll see when we do the JSON. We're
There's,
going to make a lot of sense probably.
yeah.
It's actually pretty.
If I can remember the Android, the one time it was JSON.
So I will show you, it's pretty cool. There is a Seattle Public Data, I keep on talking about this. Seattle Public Data API.
Yeah. So
Right.
John Stager was talking about that.
And so here you can grab, I don't know, education, I suppose. And they are stored in, where is the API? So there are the APIs here.
Yeah, John was talking about for a cloud practicum.
And I can't find it right now, but they are the data set, I guess, API docs. So these guys are stored in JSON files, and one of my students had a project where he accessed the crime stats,
Mhm.
and then he was populating it every 15 minutes.
Oh wow.
So you have to pull it every 15 minutes.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't
You
just-
just set it so it pulls every 15 minutes and
Right.
repopulates.
So these guys are stored in JSON objects, but why can't I?
Yeah, our web apps class was not a good class.
With PHP?
It was just kind of figure stuff out on your own, which is good to a degree,
Right.
but it didn't. This is for the bachelor's program.
You're on record. So.
It wasn't that well structured. Yeah. But yeah, he was talking about using it for cloud, basically building something based on real estate. It's all about searching these different values in places like YouTube.
Yeah, here we go. I found it.
Oh yeah, okay. So, yeah, I've seen all this stuff before.
Yeah.
So what is this? Is this actually JSON?
This is JSON
Yeah,
object
that's
with
right.
key value pairs.
So
Business, category.
Okay, yeah. Now I see. Yeah, I remember that from the Yahoo.
It keeps on going.
If you go to Yahoo Weather Service for their Android, it's actually a really easy app.
Okay, maybe I should look into
Um,
Yeah.
They have all the information set up like that, so Android will do it automatically.
So maybe for next time, we don't have time for a project for this right now, but I'm mailing myself.
Yeah. So I had to work with this one. And you basically, in Android, you just do a simple, you take that string, that YQL, and put it in there, and it gets everything.
So Yahoo Weather.
Yeah. Yahoo Developer Network, weather.
Thank you. I'll check it out. In this class, we do an example with Flickr API.
Okay, cool.
And also pulling up real-time tags. So anyway, we'll do this in a couple classes, I guess. Story time for
Oh my
review.
God. Next week's last week, so you.
There's always next week then.
All right, I think it's time. Let's see what else should we do.
No,
All right, let's continue. Yeah.
So I have a site that I've been working on,
this guy.
like 5 pages. If I get rid of one of the pages, can I use that?
No.
Sorry, I was gonna say
No.
I can go attention to that.
No, you can still do that. You
Because I
can,
mean, there's kind of a lot of cool stuff. I know what I could use on
yeah,
this.
you can do that. And actually, that reminds me.
Well, that's good because that's what I was doing with mine too. So.
About the project, the final project, if you're working for another class on another site and you want to use the same site, that's totally fine, right? As long as it meets the requirements for this class, you can multi-purpose between classes. That'll be
Can
fine.
it be more than, can be like 5 or 6 pages? But it already is your site, get rid of that.
I think you can go above and beyond the assignment safely. That should be fine.
Some teachers are like, no, it's 4.
Now,
Trying to get that 4.0 to make up for this digits class.
all right. Let's go ahead and add something else here just to show. Let's see. So go ahead and say somewhere, doesn't matter, I guess, anywhere in the script, go ahead and say variable, $sign. So remember, if you have a variable in jQuery, you always want to preface it with $sign. Unlike PHP, you don't have to actually do this. It's not going to give you an error, but it's just helpful to keep track.
What do we indent? Is there the indentions there on the third line, like line 21 and line 23? Is there, do we have that? As a
No, so what's happening is because my font size is so large, so it doesn't have to be indented, but you should indent 23, right? Because 23 is inside a function body.
Oh, okay, I see.
Right. So $sign list HTML is equal to $sign UL dot HTML. So this is used to retrieve information retrieve info from an element. Actually, we should say from jQuery selection. And then $ul.append the list HTML that we just stored in this variable. So let's take a look here and see what this looks like. Sorry. All right. So do you see what it did? So it appended the balsamic vinegar to the existing list, right? Well, first of all, it retrieved the info from the jQuery selector and then stored it, and then we appended it to the UL. So this is going to get all the HTML inside the UL, and then it's going to append it at the end of the UL. After the existing, so here you can add a note, append after existing, after the last LI. Let's take a look here and see. So, but the behavior of the HTML is that it's going to pick up the first element, which is, sorry, the.
My background's not all cool, like you have the cool styling on your.
Don't worry about it. This is just because you probably didn't add a class. So that's from one of the previous examples. I'm just probably adding too many examples in the same file. Which cool background are you concerned with?
I got the cool. I added the H3 and have the cool background there, but it only has the header, not the entire.
Also, right here.
Yeah, I have that. That's just cool. But
The space between the two balsamic vinegars, yours is green, yours is cool, his is black.
Yeah, mine too.
So you probably didn't add the class to the. Where did we add the cool here? Oh, it's because actually the reason this happened is because of a typo on my part. So it might look cool, but actually it's not. I hadn't closed my H3 properly, so it did something crazy. There we go.
So I'm sorry, can you explain what's going on? So it's, you set a variable equal to the unordered list HTML.
Right. So
You're gonna append to the unordered list. And you're saying it's taking the last item from the unordered list and just repeating it.
right.
Okay.
now where is it saying it's only taking the last thing?
This is because of it's not saying that, but it's the documented behavior. So if we go to the documentation for .html and append, this is where it would explain why they're acting in the way they are.
What if you want to append 2 or 3 of those?
Then you'd have to keep on selecting what you need to append, and then you can keep on appending it.
So you can't just say 3 and 3. Somehow. I'm not sure.
Why does it only grab the balsamic vinegar? Why doesn't it grab like the first one?
So let's see here. So the first one is the HTML. Let's see, we can use maybe the cheat sheet. So HTML. First I was going to look up HTML and then append. Get the HTML contents of the first element in the set of matched elements, or set the HTML contents of array. So it can both get and set. In this case, we're getting it, right? The first element in the set of matched elements, or set the HTML content. So this is the first set that is matching. So, sorry, the first element in the set that is matching.
The first element is not balsamic vinegar.
If you comment out the
It's probably because of something else is
If
doing.
you comment out the fade in line, you get the whole thing.
Yeah.
twice.
So it's doing this because probably the whole thing didn't load.
Okay.
That's why, yeah. So
That makes sense. So you're saying if I get rid of the fade in?
right. So some unpredictable behaviors like this could happen because we have all this code here. So we should probably comment out the previous lines and then add the clean line so we can see what's actually going on.
You know, you got when you got rid of the fade in, it gives you two balls on it.
Right. Yeah. So this is actually what it should happen. And then the other one we wanted to look at was the append. Insert content specified by the parameter to the end of each element in the set of matched elements. Right. All right. So if you like, comment out, I guess, all the lines prior to the one we're working with right now.
There you go. Yeah, if I
So
comment
that-
out the entire line,
right.
that was in, yeah.
All right, good one. Thank you, Tom. Okay. So let's see. My brackets is. Let me just fix my brackets here.
It's just that part.
All right. Okay, so go ahead and comment out. Let's just comment out the previous examples so we don't run into this issue again. The next one we're going to try is going to be select list item #1 dot remove So as you can see here, it removed the fresh figs are gone. All right, let's now work with the changing of the CSS rules. So, okay, this will be probably save the HTML file as CSS example.html and just delete all this inside a script tag. Yeah, so we're going to work with the CSS method now. It makes sense to start afresh. And this one has enough code that maybe we can create a, well, I guess we'll just do it in the same file. Okay, so the same HTML. And then the jQuery, so $sign function So this is the alternate syntax for document ready, right? Make sure the page is loaded. And then our code is going to go inside the document ready function. The first thing we're going to do is get the background color of the first list item. Okay, so variable var background color is equal to $, list item dot CSS background dash color. So this is the CSS property, not the name of the variable. Then we're going to write the color after the list. So $UL append paragraph color was plus background color, the variable, close the paragraph. Okay, and then we're going to set several properties on all list items. So list items.css So the square brace, parent, semicolon, this one, the second one is from the document ready. And then the one on line 31 is the closing for the CSS method. Okay, and now we're going to be setting the different key value pairs for the property and the value. The first one is going to be background color. And it's going to be, you can pick any color you want. For example, C5A996. And then separate the arguments with a comma. Then border 1 pixel, solid white. Color property, black. Text shadow, none. Font family, Georgia. padding left. Plus equal 75. So add 75 to the existing padding. Okay, let's test this out. All right, so this looks about right. Fresh fix. So change the color, added padding, and then the first line report the color as in RGB format at the bottom here. And we see that the append appends after the element, right? Question?
How does it know it's recorded as an RGB?
This is, if you look at the documentation, it doesn't know, but it is rather programmed to do so. Right. I don't know if you can change it. Maybe if you dig in the documentation, you can have it changed to hex, but that's the default behavior. Any other questions or comments? Is this working for everyone? Is anyone having issues, or are you all just getting it to work on the first try? No issues? If you have issues, remember to use again the console to check for errors. So you still JavaScript, and if you have any errors, that's a good place to start. Okay? What are you doing?
What?
What is all this?
Oh, I'm trying to install something.
So I have a strange extra line.
All right. All right. Would you like to do another example, or are you still working on this one?
I'm trying to figure out why it's adding up.
Yeah, you guys close your computer.
We do another one.
Yeah, no, it does. That's adding another E tag, which is giving you the extra line.
Another example then? Let's see. All right.
I'm just gonna copy this one.
Yeah, I think it's better to save as. That seems to be the cleanest way to do this. So save as, and then we're going to do another example. The next one we're going to do is the each. So save as each.html. Okay, so this is the previous example. So I'm going to leave the document ready as well, because we need to we're putting our code generator, as I mentioned, in document ready. So leave this in place, and then we have to add a few lines here. So for this one, we're going to select $, list item of each. So what does each do? It's going to allow us to work with each element in the list that we're working with. And then we're going to call an anonymous function. And then open and close. And so this is the example where the variable IDs is going to equal to this dot ID. And so this should be from JavaScript. And then this dot append. And we're going to append a span class equals to order plus IDs plus close the span element. Oh, I go here. Okay. All right, so you can add a space after the element. Okay, I need to add one here after figs. But did you see what it's doing here?
So is this like a loop in jQuery?
It's basically, yeah, it's behind the scenes, it's a loop, but it's easier because it's just by calling each, you're creating the functionality of a loop. And in this case, we use JavaScript on line 22 to get the ID for each element in the loop as we go through the loop. And then we append this ID to the element itself and also add a class. So these are the IDs from here. So if we change this to something else, we expect to see this reflected. So if this was class, awesome. Not class, but ID rather. Then as you can see here now, the word awesome is picked up. Is there a problem? Let me change it back. Is there? So make sure this works. Leaving so soon?
No. No, man. If I don't get it put away, though, I'll forget.
All right, and then after this, we're going to do an example with an event object. Okay, is it because the function is okay? Which one is complaining 23? Okay. Oh, okay. So let's see what the problem is. So after the order here, you're using the same style. You're missing some quotes here. You need to have a different set of quotes.
Oh, you got a different set.
Because otherwise it's going to give you quotes.
Oh, okay.
Their message was very helpful, right?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Wait.
Well, it's still helpful because it's,
Oh, it's
it's
something with
not
mine.
to do that.
Yeah.
Any other issues?
Yeah.
You have an issue? You have some syntax error. So, you walk around the sentence tags. And yes, because it's missing the less
Your code.
So probably that's fine. So let's do one example with the event object. So remember me telling you that when we use events, there is an event object that is implicitly carried with an event, and it contains information that we can use. So let's take a look at the documentation real quick, and then we're going to do an example with it. These are my. Okay, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the page for the HTML DOM events, and these are the events we have been working with on click, mouse over, and so on, and they're grouped by different types of events. But what I wanted to show you was down here, the event has properties that we can use. So if you're using an event, you can, for example, the target is going to return the element that triggered the event. And the one we are about to use right now is the timestamp event, which is going to return the time at which the event was created. And so useful information like that you can use because the event is carried with the, when you call the event object comes with it, with this information. There was more setup to do with JavaScript, so we skipped it, but we're going to do now an example with jQuery to do that. So the bubble is whether the event is bubbling from more specific to a more, let's say, from a list item up to the body, or in the other direction, from a more general to a more specific event. Returns whether or not a specific event is a bubbling event. Okay, maybe we'll look at this later. It's not really.
The notation in JavaScript is false or true.
Yes, that's it's referring to the same, to the whether it's bubble or, I forgot the other way it goes, bubble or capture. Bubble or capture. All right, so let's do another example. So save your file as event object. So again, we're going to leave everything the same except for the document ready. And we haven't had to include the CDN every time, but if you're working on a new page every time, you need to include the CDN. All right, so inside the function, the documentary function, we're going to select list items, dot on, click, and then function, and this is where we can pass the event object. So before we were just,
So I can't put the CDN in the JavaScript file, and it won't pull it from there. Instead, I had to put it in my HTML.
yeah, I mean, you need to put it in the HTML. You need to add it in a script tag, so it
But I
becomes
can't run that. I can't run that in the. If I already have a CS or
separate JavaScript file.
I can't just run it out of there and then run it all off the one at the bottom.
Usually you put it in the HTML. This might work, but the thing to do is to put it in the HTML. Yeah. All right, so then we pass the function, we pass the event object right here to the anonymous function. And now we're going to create a variable date is equal to a new date. Date dot set time, and then we pass this e dot to date string. And then var clicked is equal to date dot to date string. $this dot append span class equals date plus clicked space. So then another plus to concatenate plus space plus e dot type plus all the span. And the anonymous function needs to be closed with curly brace, parent, and semicolon. Let me try this before you continue. So something is off. Let me just do a quick. Oh, you know what, guys? I have allergies, and I'm just like, okay, we have to click on it, otherwise it's not going to do it. So I was wondering why it's not working. Because Okay, so that's fine. We can look at that now. That's an understandable situation, so we can fix this now. But I was waiting for it to do something and it wasn't doing anything. Okay, so let's see. So I'm missing here a parent. Okay, hang on a second. New date. Set time. Oh, e dot time. Okay, here we go. Timestamp. Right. Okay.
So what?
All right. So okay. So the one thing on line 23, you need to set the time to the timestamp from the event object. So this was incorrect. So you need to change it to date.setTime to e.timestamp. So timestamp is one of these properties that I showed you on the event object.
And that's when I was typing it in. I was waiting for it to say, to date, train, whatever, and it wasn't prompting. It didn't just say timestamp, so it was one of the ones that gave you a job.
Yeah. And then it's going to also use the event.type property to tell us what type of event we are responding to. As you can see, in this case, it's a click event, and so it's reporting this accordingly. Right.
So what is function E?
Okay, I'll talk about this. So let's just look at this again. Okay, so the function is an anonymous function, which is the event handler function. I guess to answer your question, what I would like to do is look at the jQuery on method. So this is where the beginning of your answer is. The on method is going to attach an event handler function for one or more events to the selected elements. In other words, we have to specify two things: the name of the event, in this case click. You can have multiple events, as you can see here. And then the second argument is the event handler function. So the function is the event handler function. In this case, we are passing the event object to it. And because we are passing the event object, we are allowed to use the timestamp and type properties of the event object.
So if you didn't have that E.
So if we didn't have this E, it's saying E is not defined because it doesn't.
Well, in line 23, or I guess that was what E is.
Yeah, 23.
Yeah, 23. What if you got rid of that E and put the dot timestamp?
Well, then you couldn't. The timestamp is a property of E, so it will not work. Right?
If you, so you could have said A or L or.
Well, you have to tell it whatever you pass. So in other words,
Those two match.
those two have to match.
Okay.
That's right.
Because I know mine was December 31st, 1969.
Oh yeah, so it's I know it goes through some. It's based on the timestamp of the operating system, and they go in this epoch. I can't really talk to that, but it gets it from the operating system, right?
But get back to E for a minute. So where is
Yeah.
E is defined by the system?
Yeah, so E is actually, it's a JavaScript event. So the object that I showed you earlier, the event object, JavaScript event object, this is the E that we are passing to the anonymous function. Maybe we can look at a different reference. So the event, it's an interface. You can think about it as an object. Represents every event of the DOM. It contains common properties and methods to any event. So we use the timestamp that the event was created, and we use the type, the name of the event, case insensitive. So these are two of the properties that we use from the event object right now. Right? If we didn't pass the E here, they're not available to us.
So any variable is fine, any letter is fine.
Well, yeah, so usually you would say E for an event, although sometimes it's used for an error. but E would be,
If you put
it
like
makes
E,
more
You
sense.
could actually say event.
Yeah. That would be fine too.
Is there a way to make this happen only once? Because, I mean, if you keep clicking it, it does add in timestamp.
Well, this is an event, so it's going to execute on the event. If you want to make it only once, I guess you could you have to handle this inside the event somehow, but the way this is set up is that it's always going to respond to the click event. Right? So let's see here, just one other. Let's try one other thing here. So as you can see, now our function is set up to respond to a mouse over event, and accordingly, that's what it's going crazy, but look at that, pretty cool. So perhaps click is a better choice, but just wanted to show you that you can change the event. You can use any event, it doesn't have to be click. All right, and let's see what else can we say. We also saw here that the appending, so we have set to append to the list item, and you can see that it appends after the list item, right? All right, probably can do one more example tonight. Oh, let's do the animation. That's a fun one always. Okay, let's do an animation example. So, yeah, probably save as HTML, save as animation. All right, that's where I draw the line when you start listening to. All right, so save as animation or animate.html. And again, we're going to work inside the documentary. Is everyone clear on the when I say documentary, what I mean by that? Are you clear? You're okay? All right. Okay, so $, list item, dot on, click, function. So that's this function is the event handler function, and I'm not passing the event here, just pointing out. And so this event handler function is going to select the current element and then apply the animate method to it. And then close the. So we have 3 sets of curly brace, parent, semicolon. One from the document ready, one from the anonymous function event handler function, and one from the animate method. So if you recall, perhaps from our lecture, the animate, does anyone recall what the animate does? It's going to animate numeric values only, okay? All right.
So it makes something bigger or smaller.
Yeah, so that's exactly what you're going to do. But you can't change colors with this particular method. You have to use a different one. Okay, so the first thing we're going to change is, say, opacity. 0.0. No. So these are arguments to, yeah, they're not CSS properties, so not important. So fair question. Padding left. Plus equal 80. Okay, close the curly brace and then comma. So this whole thing was considered one argument, and then we separate arguments by comma. Then 500, which is the delay, and then function. So sorry, this is, okay, opening, so function. $, this dot remove. Like I have one too many, let's see here.
Is there supposed to be a curly brace at the driving line?
Yeah, I have something off with my curly braces. I'm just trying to reconcile it right now. So this is, this one is fine. This one, open here, close down here. Close here. Comma, function.
Change those improved after animate, that you started after animate.
Let's see, animate. Well, second. Okay, well, let's test this out. I feel like I have too many. I'll show you if this works. All right, so this doesn't work. Unexpected token on 31. Okay, so now
Do you need to?
I think I had one too many sets of, yeah, okay, so this is what it's supposed to do. I had 4 sets of closing brackets, so I removed one of them. All right, so let's actually look at Animate documentation real quick. jQuery. Okay, so this is the Animate documentation, one of them anyway. So the parameters are, we have the parameters, the speed, and then you can also pass a callback function. So the 500 was the speed of the animation, and I'm going to make it 1000 just so we can see what's happening here. So let's take a look.
The 500 be a half second.
It was the delay of the animation. So this is, should be 1 second now. So you remove the, okay, so do you see how, so the first is that we're executing the animation and then removing the element. Does this make sense?
What was the problem?
The problem was I had four sets of curly brace, parent, semicolon instead of 3. So this is our animation, and then the duration, and this is what we call the callback function, which actually removes it. So first it animates it, and then removes the same element that was animated.
Talk about the opacity for just a second.
Sure.
Why couldn't you just say hide instead of opacity?
Or you can do all kinds of things. I mean,
What is that? What is the opacity?
well, you couldn't use the opacity if you wanted to use the animate property. The opacity is going to change from opaque to transparent. So for example, if I make the opacity 0.5, take a look here. It's not going to hide them completely. Right?
By putting it at
0.0 and make sure it completely disappears.
It's pretty much transparent. That's right.
Before it's removed.
Yeah. So it is like hiding it, but it's using Animate instead.
If you didn't put in the stop remove, then it would just leave that space in
Right.
there, right?
So if we take out the, let's see here. Oh, I see. See what is the syntax if you have no callback. So it will be just so if you take out the callback method, it's just going to do the first part. So it's just animating them. And I took out the 3000 just because I just took it out. So it's doing the default speed, which is usually 400 milliseconds, which is about 0.4 seconds.
And adding padding left is what pushes it over as it goes.
I'm sorry?
Adding the padding left,
That's what is pushing it. That's exactly right. So actually, that's one other thing we can do is if we change the padding to 100, it should push it further. Right, so I made it 100 and take a look here. It's going further to the right. Okay, so for the rest of the class, how about you go to the W3 schools and then play around with the online tutorial that's going to allow you to do various little animations interactively in the cloud. Okay, and we'll leave it for here for today.